Have you ever just stepped in the room and seen another entrepreneur and she had this X factor, this big energy? She was a client magnet. I know you've been around one of those amazing women before. And in today's episode, I want to help you become a client magnet as well. And be sure to stick around to the final tip I give because it's going to be the practical and game-changing strategy that I want you to take as you move into 2025 to truly embody client magnetism. Welcome, you guys, to this week's episode of the show. Before I dive in, I just want to again invite you to the Best Damn Coach live event. It is April 7th and 8th. It's our first ever 2-day live event. I've been inspired, honestly, by many events I've been to over the past couple of years that have been uber fluffy. And I wanted to create a place for coaches who want hands-on, action-based learning to help them gain more clients, more confidence, more profit, without feeling like when you go back home, you've just been fire hose and you have nothing to really implement immediately. And so I am doing the opposite. It's very intimate. There's only 42 seats, many of which have already been sold, because I really want time for you to collaborate with other coaches to get ahead of some of the industry trends to increase your profit and impact in real time. And so we're keeping it small so that we can do that. And I do believe that running a coaching business can feel kind of lonely. And so you often overthink and question, are you doing the best thing, the right thing? And so sometimes you just wish you could bounce ideas off of a mentor and other coaches to get their feedback and see what's working. And so we're going to create that environment. So again, just imagine a live event where you are not just listening all day. Instead, you're implementing in real time. You have time to mastermind and brainstorm, and you leave with tangible results. So again, details are April 7th and 8th. It's going to be from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. We're going to culminate with a beautiful happy hour connection the last few hours of the last day. So if you want more information, I would love to have podcast listeners there. Amanda-walker.com/BDC live is where you grab your seats. So today is all about being a client magnet. Would you like that? Would you love to? How would it be for you if I gave you the tangible steps, the both practical and also, let's say, intangible, introspective tools to become a client magnet? I have not always been a client magnet in my business. And I would, in the most loving way right now, say that I've worked on some things to become a client magnet. And today I'm going to give away all those secrets. And some of them are definitely not what you think. And so I want to share this story. I invested in my first ever high ticket mastermind. It was a $25,000 investment. It was a huge stretch years ago. This was in 2019. And I invested, and within a month, I was attending my first ever basically event for a mastermind where I was going to be with my mastermind sisters in Savannah, Georgia. So it was a lot of effort for me to be away. The kids, this is easily 6 years ago. My kids were a lot younger. Justin was still on the SWAT team. So it takes a village for me to be able to be away. And so a lot of my energy is like just put on them and making sure things are set for them. So I get to this event. I fly in late. The next morning we start. I'm wearing basically, workout clothes, more or less, some leggings, sneakers, etc. And I walk in and all of these girls are just in the most beautiful, up-leveled, branded clothes. There's video and photographers throughout the day. And I have never felt so small. I was like, shoot, there wasn't any paper reminders that said, hey, dress for your brand. And quite honestly, I didn't even know what that was for myself at that time. I was in this transition where I was essentially hitting the multiple 6-figure mark. I knew I needed to be around people where I would be the small fish, but I really was not quite prepared for what that meant specifically. And I remember I had this moment probably where I turned white and I was like, shoot, I felt small. I lacked confidence. It was like everything about my expertise was stripped of me. I thought, oh my gosh, I got to go shopping tonight. And so it took me some time to reframe. And what I noticed is there was a couple other girls in the room similar, and I gravitated towards their lack of energy. I was like, oh, those are my people. And at first, what I tried to tell myself was like, oh, you're just plain and simple. And, they're just too much. I'm going to be honest. That's what my brain went to. And what I realized now in hindsight was that was my way of justification, trying to justify keeping myself small and realizing I was not showing up as a client magnet. I was, at the time when I was attending events, I was lacking confidence. I was in a super judgmental space. And quite frankly, I approached it like a fly in the wall. I would always kind of stand in the back and wait to be invited. I would never insert myself in conversations. It was a much lesser version of Amanda than I am today. And so if you are approaching 2025 and you have this goal is to get more clients, then this episode is most definitely for you, which I think is 100% of my listeners to some degree. But here's the reality that I came to understand is my business success is only dependent on my growth and success as a human being. And I don't know if you believe that, but I hope that you come to understand the vital importance of your personal growth and that you cannot neglect that. You cannot outshine that with fancy strategy because you will always hit a wall and you will never find the success that you want if you are not working on yourself as a human. So while I think both practical strategy and personal growth are necessary, I think actually the fast track to becoming the client magnet that you desire to be tends to weigh more heavily on your personal growth as a human being. And so today, what I want to do is unpack some of the things that I think are key for you to becoming a client magnet. And I have basically 6 simple things that I think are important for you. And as we go through these 6 simple steps, I want you to also check, am I doing this? Am I showing up in the way that I desire to? And understand your opportunity. So I think if we think about a client and where they're at when they meet us, a prospective client intuitively senses you, right? There's a magnetism that may or may not exist that a person that already has expertise and qualities like that they desire. And so they either sense that and have an affinity to it, like a magnet, or immediately they sense that you're not showing up like that and they are disinterested, or they're looking for somebody else unconsciously that actually embodies the expertise and the qualities with more affirmation. So I just want you to do a baseline screening. Ask yourself, when I'm in a room, if I were in a room of prospective clients right now, would I be a magnet or would I be a repellent, possibly? You don't have to share this answer with anybody. I just want you to be really honest with yourself. Old Amanda was not a magnet. This current version of Amanda is a magnet, right? And so I'm going to talk to you about how to become the magnet. So how to shift that energy. So step 1 is I want you to be in rapport with your client or your prospective clients. That means how you show up consistently. That means what you look like, what you sound like, how you show up energy-wise in your videos, in your social, in your stories, in live events. So being in rapport means this, like begets like. So you have to think about who are the women you want in your world. Do you want women who are like full face of makeup every single day? Maybe not. But do you want women who sometimes put on makeup and show up for themselves? That's me. And you'll notice in my stories, sometimes I'm barefaced. In my posts, sometimes I'm totally barefaced. Other times I have my power lipstick on and hair done, like when I record podcasts. The energy right now I want to show up on my podcast with is magnetism. I want you to hear and listen and go, she has the expertise and the qualities that I am seeking, and therefore I want to listen to her more. If I sat and I was like, okay, guys, I hope you listen, and I disqualified myself all the time when I talked, and I didn't talk and present myself with open shoulders, chest proud, that is being the energy that you want to attract. But more importantly is we have to be in rapport and display that certainty so you can trust me. I share examples, I share wins, I share transparently so you know that, oh, Amanda's done this. She's an expert. She can help me to get to where I want to go. So that's step 1, be in rapport. Step 2 is have empathy for your people. Like, be a safe space. And empathy is created by being vulnerable and sharing areas where you made mistakes, like this opening story of my podcast today. You've been in that place before. I know you have. So empathy bridges the gap to deeper rapport. So when your clients pour their heart out, or you meet someone at a networking event and she's telling you how she's been overwhelmed and she can't get her head above water, it's not like, okay, I can help you. It's like, I get you. Like, thank you so much for sharing. I know what it's like. I've been there too. Empathy is the bridge to trust. And that makes you a magnet when you are vulnerable and you can share empathy, because now what it does is it creates a safe space for them to then share more deeply with you. Right? I'm going to come back to one of the biggest personal thing that I want you to work on. But I do want to talk about some strategic things that are really important for you to be a magnet. The first of those is that you absolutely have to nail the messaging that brings in the client that you desire. We spend great time on this in every single one of my coaching experiences, because articulate and powerful messaging is basically sending like the receptors in their brain on, like, she gets me. I use that messaging here. I use that in my social. When I'm speaking things like, hey, I know what it's like to be a perfectionist, to have it totally figured out before you like go put the offer out there, to be stuck in paralysis because you're not sure if it's right. What if people judge you? What might they say? Those are all things that I know you struggle with. And that messaging, again, creates the first two, empathy and rapport. So there's a difference if you were to hear me saying, I know you want to build a coaching business. Yeah, that's good. It's just not great. The other examples that I mentioned are deepening the connection. They are like getting to the heart. They're tugging at the heartstrings and the soul of where I know that my ideal clients struggle. So you want to know, how do I get into shout out, by the way, to one of my upcoming guests. We're going to talk about the power of the micro moments. We're actually talking about messaging this month because I wanted it to weave into the entire front end episodes that I've been sharing so much the month of January about success in 2025. But like, go into the micro moment when like your ideal client wakes up in the morning. What's on their heart? Are they struggling to even get out of bed, so they hit the snooze button 5 times? Are they so overwhelmed of having to pack lunches and get themselves to work that they just like don't even want to come home? You need to know. The greatest coaches, the greatest marketers are the coaches who know their ideal client the best, without fail. And you need to study them and speak to them. Not just throw some motivational stuff on your social media, but speak into their lives, speak into their pain points. Because then they know you have empathy and you are in rapport with them, and that is trust building. So then they have the desire to reach out and they start to see, okay, Monica is my solution. Tina is my solution. Jana is my solution. And once they see that, then the next thing you absolutely have to have is a simple, very clear and simple offer. You don't need 15. You don't need 4. You need one offer that you can bring that client into and just crush it with them. And you need to be able to talk about it seamlessly, not like nervous talk, but what does that offer give them? Not how many Voxer sessions, not how many modules, how all the things. Like, what does that give them? this is how you become a magnet, is they start to see not the coaching offer, but the results you're offering. And they're like, she can get me to the thing. I already trust her. I want those results. And number 5 is that of all of these things, as you work on them, is be anchored in service. That's where you become a magnet. Is people see how much you care about them, that you are solving specific problems. You're not like a broy sales tactic thing first, because that's so icky and people are so much smarter than that now. When you're anchored in service, then you're really clear on the problems you solve. And people can feel that authenticity and that joy and that passion and desire that you have to bring to the table. You become a magnet when people know that your intentions are to serve them. And then it's woven through everything in your business, from the way you nurture them from the start when they say yes, the way you talk to them on social media before they become your client, even the way you offboard them. It's not like, boom, you gave me your money. It's like, we care about you. We want to keep supporting you. If there's anything you need, like there's so many touch points that say, I am a service provider that is heart-centered, not just like a one and done, thank you, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. That's what I was looking for. But the last step, number 6, is you have to be the big energy that you want out there. That is magnetic. Stepping in to your full self, embodying the trust and the confidence you want, right? This is the power. This is what people see. And they're like, I want to be around that. Many miss this. This is the X factor, but it matters. I hate to be the truth. I don't actually hate to be the truth teller. I want to tell you the truth, so you make fast. But this is something I know a lot of people don't want to hear, is like how you show up to record your podcasts, the environment, how you dress, it matters. How you show up in your stories, it matters. That does not mean you have to be a full face of makeup. That means show me both. Show me I can have both. When you go to a networking event, how you show up matters. What you wear, it doesn't matter to everybody else, honestly. It matters to how you feel. I know that if I didn't wear what I wear, I am fully dressed like I would go speak on a stage when I record my podcast, because that's the big energy I want to bring to my podcast. I want you to hear me speak on a stage live the same way I would show up in my podcast. If you ask my coaching clients that come to our community calls, you get the same Amanda in all forms, because I want to be that energy for my clients. I want to model that. I want them to go out and do that, because that is magnetic energy. And that you're not just born with it. You can create it for yourself by changing the environment, change your work environment. For me, a huge catalyst to this was wearing lipstick. And it seemed like such a little thing. But when I gave myself permission to wear bold lipstick and to put on lipstick and not just save that for fancy date nights or important events, but to make it a regular part, it was expansive for me. It expanded the way I dressed. It expanded the way I showed up. It helped me have magnetic energy. And that's exactly what I want for you and your clients. And that's going to look different for each of us. But the point in today's episode is to plant the seed so you can ask yourself, what's the one step I can take to be more magnetic? What can I do? And what can I stay consistent with? That's a huge piece. I don't want you to listen to this episode and for the next week be like, big energy, big energy. It's like, stick with something and see how it expands you. Maybe for you, it's lipstick. Maybe for you, it's getting ready every day. Maybe for you, it's drinking water consistently. I don't know what it is. But I want you to really think about how you want to end the year in your energy and how you can be that energy right now. And I guarantee if you come to the live event, you're going to feel differently when you show up that way than your old version, like old Amanda in 2019. I'm not like a shell of showing up. I'm like, ooh, what outfit am I going to wear that's going to make me feel like me? Yes, you betcha I'm going to be in sneakers. But how is it going to be Amanda-esque in my form of big energy, which is totally different from some of the other ladies and how they show up in their big energy? But in rooms of people that are desiring to go where you desire to go, I promise big energy is definitely present, and they are focusing on being magnets too. And honestly, you just start to become it when you offer yourself the opportunity in advance. So I am so pumped for you to think about this, take it in, share this episode with a friend, colleague, if you feel like it definitely resonates. All you need to do is just copy the link, drop it to them in text. You don't have to share it all over if you want to. That's great. Post it in Facebook groups, post it on your stories. I would be so grateful. But just one person that you feel like will help them level up their 2025 as well. And again, come be a part of the live events. You can grab your ticket at amanda-walker.com/BDC Live. I will see you guys next week, same time, same place. And until then, go coach 'em up.